All right. Can you all hear me yet? Okay, let's just make sure that it is up and running, and then we'll begin. Can you all hear me yet? Cool. So yeah, I am now starting this series where uh basically it's some form of education and then some form of me expressing myself via art sounds. So yeah, today I am going to try to get through this information quickly. Yeah, so if you don't know who I am or what I do, any of that shit, my name is Dorian Wallace. I'm a composer, I'm a music therapist, and I'm a piano player. Um, and today we're going to be covering within the concept of liberation music therapy. We're going to be covering the concepts of social forces and social class. So, for our dialogue today, I want you to keep three big concepts in mind. These aren't rules, they're frameworks, they're tools to help you reflect on your music and on your work as a music therapist, how you interact with various communities, populations, and demographics, and how you make sense of the world, time, and space. Sound good? All right, dope. Let's sign in. So, these are the big three concepts that I want you all to focus on for the foundations today. We have liberation philosophy, and this includes theory and practice from various anti colonialist movements, decolonial thought, post colonialism, liberation theology, critical pedagogy, and most importantly, for our purposes, for our sake, liberation psychology and liberation music therapy. And then we also have the three-way fight, which is a framework developed by philosopher Devin Zane Shaw that offers a more nuanced analysis of hegemonic social forces beyond the binary left-right political spectrum. And then the three social class ladders, it's a framework that was proposed by philosopher Michael Church to deepen an understanding of social class beyond income brackets. This framework identifies three distinct social ladders: the labor class ladder, the gentry class ladder, and the elite class ladder, as well as a separate 13th class, the underclass, each with its own values, norms, and goals. Class hierarchies are shaped by social structures that influence individuals' experiences and behaviors and impact our experiences with various forms of oppression and privilege. So, these frameworks, these schools of thought, and practices are meant to provide a more nuanced, comprehensive understanding of social dynamics, especially in field work when we work with real human beings. Consider how the social forces around you may have influenced your own behavior. Consider your social class position and how it has impacted the way you navigate the world. So, how could this perspective shift interact with your work in music therapy? How do these dynamics show up in the populations you work with? Systemically, situationally, behaviorally, and psychologically. And how can they help you understand systemic oppression and healthcare? So let's begin with liberation philosophy. It's four basic concepts. There's praxis, which is the unity of reflection and action. There's the centering of marginalized voices. There's a critique of power, critique of hegemony, and critique of abusive practices and behavior. And there's a decolonial epistemology. So this is really about comprehending the roots of systemic oppression and conceiving ways to deconstruct it. Anti-colonial movements, decolonial and post-colonial theories, liberation theology, and critical pedagogy all put forward these questions. Who holds the power? Who benefits from the structure as it is? How do we create spaces for safe recovery, safe empowerment, and self-determination? So liberation philosophy is about working alongside our communities to build something healthier through communion, solidarity, and action. Liberation psychology is not considered the liberation branch of psychology. Rather, it is the psychology branch of liberation theory. Same should be thought of in regards to liberation music therapy. So we're also going to talk about the three-way fight. This was coined by Devin Zane Shaw. The three-way fight framework challenges the traditional right-left or left-right political spectrum that we often use in political discussion. This model identifies three prominent social forces that shaped much of the political conflict of the 20th century and continue to shape and impact the social dynamics today. Excuse me, so gross. Anyways, three-way fight can be broken into key forces. There are key forces in the three-way fight. That's neoliberal capitalism and the state, which is really about global capitalism, profit-driven, market-driven policies, privatization, hierarchical governance, and power structure. Then there is reactionary chauvinism or fascism, authoritarianism, tendencies, exclusionary policies, centers nationalism and ethno-nationalism, protectionist economic policies, both systemic and direct violence, to enforce perceived hierarchies. And then there is revolutionary socialism and autonomous movements. And these are grassroots liberation struggles for liberation, equality, and non-hierarchical communities. 3 social class ladders. So social class is, or social stratum as you might have heard it, is a grouping of people into a set of hierarchical social categories, most common being the working class, middle class, upper class. We use those terms. Membership of a class is dependent on things like education, wealth, occupation, incoming, and or belonging to a particular subculture or social network. So we often think of class as an income-based social positionality, which it is, but there is much more nuance to consider when addressing power dynamics. So we think of it like the underclass, those are experiencing, people who are experiencing chronic joblessness, chronic houselessness, experiencing direct systemic violence, experiencing whether in engagement with or reaction to. Then we look at the labor class, and that's the workforce that's divided, makes their money basically through tangible labor, some form of tangible labor, either physical labor or some sort of tangible means of their production. And the gentry class is a workforce that really focuses on its relationship to capital is non-tangible labor. So intellectual property, creative property, those sorts of experiences, those sorts of creations. So that's how we kind of think of the labor class and the gentry class. And you'll notice that they actually do have a crisscross. So somebody who is a high labor leadership may actually be like a millionaire, and whereas somebody like myself, probably primary gentry, where I would be positioned, which is lower income, but still in a more nuanced position because where I work in, basically I get paid, my wages are paid like a labor class participant. Um, but the work, the labor I put in is either in composing music or thinking about theoretical perspectives and orientations. Then, of course, we have the motherfuckers, the elite class, and this is the 1.5%. Uh, and yeah, there's the strivers, just the people who are really trying hard. There's the elite servants, which I think you could count people like Joe Rogan at this point as an elite servant. You know, the servants of the elites. The yes, sir. What do you need me to do, sir? Um, yeah. Then there's the national elites, and then the global elites, which is like 20 people maybe. So finally, this is a concept I like to teach people. It's the praxis wheel. I use this wheel as a way to kind of guide my framing. It's like I'm moving forward, always moving forward. Nothing is more important than another, but it does start with trauma informed and trauma sensitive practice with a culturally relevant, identity affirming care. You must show empathy, compassion, and concern for the population in which you're working with. Uh, there are nuances and accessibility. This includes things like social class that we just talked about, but this also includes uh, neurodivergent affirmations and uh, all of those diverse experiences on how people may process through the world. Uh, there's practice mindfulness, so being in the practice of mindfulness. Eventually, we get to the educational and transformational spaces. This is where we actually start to learn and organize around ourselves. Then there's accountability and agency. That's when, once you start to learn, you should know a little better. You should. And then truth and understanding. And this is just more abstract, but it's about getting closer to whatever the fuck we're trying to get closer to. So with that, I'm going to switch to the piano portion. Today, I'm going to be playing 5 songs for y'all. This is from my upcoming album, which will be coming out on Rope It Up Records May 16th, 2025. It's going to be 2 separate albums, Les Soutel. And the first album is called Psychology in a New Key. The second album is called A Healing Sound for the People. And today I'll be playing the first 5 tracks from Late Soutel's Psychology in a New Key. And that is One Love, People Get Ready, Hasta Siempre, Himno Zapatista, Lord is Coming, and I'll finish it out today with Ginger. Thank you. Cool. All right, everybody. Well, this is Dorian's mode. This machine kills fascists. I'm going to start doing this every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for about an hour, I'm going to do some kind of lecture on liberation music therapy and then play some tunes. So, thank y'all. See you next time. Peace.